beautiful countries in the world, as well as the best cities and tourist areas that attracted travelers directly before. In this article, you will learn about the 20 most beautiful cities in the world and the most attracted by tourist cities around the world over the course of a year, according to the World Tourism Organization. Thus, the opportunity to identify the most beautiful tourist cities or the most 20 Bali in Indonesia. The island of Bali is one of the most beautiful tourist places in Indonesia because of its rich natural beauty, history and heritage that makes it one of the best cities in the world, and the most attractive to tourists, camera lenses, and artist brushes alike. Bali has some of the most beautiful and most magical beaches in the world, such as Seminyak, Nusa Dua, Hatta, and other natural attractions such as rice terraces in Ubud, the quiet picturesque island northeastern coast, rice fields and towering mountains covered with very green and dense forests on the west coast, in addition to the archaeological and historical monuments such as palaces, mosques, galleries that contributed to making Bali one of the most beautiful islands in the world. Tourism in Bali attracted 8.3 million travelers last year. Osaka in Japan. Osaka is the second largest and richest city in Japan, and one of the most beautiful tourist cities in Japan and the world as a whole, due to its long history that extends back to before the 16th century as the first Japan, which left its mark on its famous concrete castle. Osaka is also famous for its family-friendly entertainment venues such as the Ferris wheel, rooftop outdoor amusement parks, the world's second-largest movie studio, and a water park where you can enjoy huge, colorful and rare fish across giant ponds. In addition to accommodation options that suit different budgets, luxury restaurants, bars and nightclubs, the ideal location from the heart of the country and its most famous tourist cities through a huge network of transportation and transportation. Pattaya in Thailand. Pattaya is one of the best tourist cities in the world for its involvement in the authentic Asian customs and traditions, and other cultures that have inhabited it over time as a city that attracts immigrants, in addition to an ancient heritage that is first studied and deeply rooted, as the city, classified in Thailand, is home to the most famous temples, religious houses, wealthy homes, most beautiful gardens and picturesque beaches, ideal for a quiet, secluded and enjoyable vacation at the same time. Although Pattaya is included in the list of the most beautiful tourist cities in the world as a whole and the most attractive for tourism, it is considered the third in terms of attracting tourists, Phuket and Bangkok, and this included in the same list of the best cities in the world in terms of tourist attractions. Barcelona in Spain. Barcelona is one of the best tourist cities in the world, thanks to its privileged geographical location between the northeastern coast of the Mediterranean in Spain and the south of the French Pyrenees, in addition to its charming beaches extending for kilometers in length and more, and its pleasant climate throughout year, which makes it a wonderful summer vacation for tourists from all over the world. Barcelona includes an ancient and famous football club that attracts fans from everywhere to follow its live-make number of art galleries and museums, with the ancient cultural heritage that characterized the city for decades, being one of the most important tourist cities in Spain, which witnessed the birth and emergence of the most famous plastic artists such as Picasso and Miro. 16 Palma de Mallorca in Spain. It is one of the most beautiful cities in the world according to the classification of the British Sunday Times newspaper, which offers its visitors a varied tourist meal that combines picturesque beaches, towering hills and historical monuments, with giant shopping and entertainment streets and dozens of culture. The island of Mallorca, or Palma de Mallorca, is located on the Mediterranean coast and is one of the most beautiful of the Spanish Balearic Islands. It is distinguished by its waterfront that witnesses yachting industry, with a number of the finest restaurants, bars, nightclubs and boutique hotels overlooking the sea, as well as historical monuments in the old town. Milan in Italy. Milan is the second most populous city in Italy and one of the best tourist cities in Italy as a whole, and one of its best tourist destinations. It can even be considered the most beautiful city in the world for those who enjoy keeping pace with the latest international fashions. Here you can find the and their most famous brands: in Brera, Viamonte Napoleon, Gallery Vittorio Emanuele, and others. In addition, Milan embraces some of the most beautiful tourist attractions in Italy and the world, buildings of exquisite art and architecture, as is the case in the Duomo, La Scala, the Opera House, where you can also attend a high-end art show, and then end your day in one of the Navigli bars in beautiful cities in China, and also one of the most beautiful tourist cities in the world and the most crowded and densely populated tourist. This is in addition to the city's fame in the fields of fashion and film industry, as it includes stores and boutiques belonging to the most famous brands and international brands. Geographically, Hong Kong is treated as an archipelago of islands located between the South China Sea and the Pearl River, surrounded by about 200 islands, making it one of the most beautiful cities in the world thanks to its picturesque nature and temperate coastal climate. Mecca in Saudi Arabia. Mecca is considered one of the most important cities in Saudi Arabia in particular and the cities of the world. Phuket in Thailand. Phuket is the largest island of Thailand and one of the most beautiful beach cities in the world. Phuket attracts tourists from different countries and financial capabilities. With its affordable accommodation options, restaurants and entertainment, the island has about 30 beaches that are the most beautiful and most popular and visited in the world, such as Padang, Karen, Hatta, and Kamala, because of their warm white sand and crystal water, with wraparound them in glory, making them an ideal romantic and idyllic destination for honeymoon holidays. In addition to the main island's smaller tropical islands, you can access them and enjoy there. Antalya in Turkey. Antalya is Turkey's best coastal city, and one of the most beautiful tourist cities in the beaches and glamorous monuments, with ideal recreational areas for families. If Antalya is one of the many tourist cities that are on your list of priorities and plans for a vacation, do not the world, with its stunning forget to pass through the old town, which includes a number of ancient archaeological sites such as the Roman Hadrian's Gate. If your vacation is family-oriented, there is no doubt that the beaches of Antalya and its ancient harbor with charming turquoise waters, gentle sunshine and a mild climate will be your first destination. 10. Seoul in South Korea. Seoul is the capital of South Korea and the city of contradictions for Asians. While it is classified as one of the best cities in the world for tourism and industry, thanks to its technical progress and fame in the field of fashion industry and marketing. On the other hand, Seoul has a long history and heritage, leaving its mark on its temples and palaces, and even its traditional wooden houses with elegant and refined architecture, in addition to its mountain paths and river banks, which are gaining wide popularity among its residents and visitors from foreign tourists, as ideal destinations for walking and hiking and cycling. Istanbul in Turkey. Istanbul is the largest tourist city in Turkey, the second largest city in Turkey in terms of population density, and the fifth in the world, and at the same time it is one of the best tourist cities in the world, due to its ancient history and great cultural and civilizational diversity thanks to the frequent isthmus, which connects two culturally different continents. Istanbul is the link point between Asia and Europe through the Bosphorus Strait that connects the Black Sea to the Sea of Marmara, and is one of its most important and famous tourist attractions, along with its mosques, palaces, Ottoman shrines, ruins of castles, Byzantine churches and traditional baths. Tokyo in Japan. Tokyo, the capital of Japan and its political, financial and cultural center since 1868, and even earlier than that, where it was chosen as the political capital of Japan since the beginning of the 17th century, but under the name of Edo. Over time, Tokyo became the largest city in Japan and the world in population, with an area extending over 23 administrative sectors to the north of Honshu Island on the west bank of Tokyo Bay. And, on the other hand, Tokyo is one of Japan's most beautiful tourist cities and the best cities in the whole world. Tokyo attracts millions of tourists thanks to its giant buildings, architecture, civilized development. Despite the frequency of natural disasters and wars over them, Tokyo has not been unable to rebuild and develop itself in a greater way than it was in the past. Seven, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur is a tourist city and one of the most prominent tourist cities in Malaysia, located to the west, on the Strait of Malacca, which separates it from the Indonesian island of Sumatra. It is gaining more importance as the country's capital and its economic and cultural center. Kuala Lumpur is famous as a historical tourist destination and a perfect family entertainment. It is famous for its religious temples such as the Batu Caves Temple, the giant skyscrapers such as the P, and the main shopping center, as well as its traditional folk markets and botanical gardens, and the cultural and religious celebrations and festivals it organizes of different faiths throughout it. 6, New York in the United States of America, the most beautiful city in the world for one of the most beautiful countries in the world and the most sophisticated and civilized development. New York is the second best city in the United States of America, located on 3 islands in the northeast of the country between Washington and Boston. Number of the most famous tourist attractions in the world, most of which are located at simple distances that can be easily traveled by car, making it the easiest way to pass and take a quick look. New York is famous for its world-renowned shopping plazas and restaurants around the most important tourist attractions such as the Statue of Liberty, the Brooklyn Bridge, the Empire State Building, historical neighborhoods and museums, and the One World Observatory for a magical and unparalleled panoramic view of the city. Five, Singapore in Singapore. Singapore is an island among 58 islands, and the capital of the country of the same name, located in South Asia, and includes several ethnic groups from India to China and Malay to Arabs and foreigners, and the city and state of Singapore enjoy a giant economic entity despite its recent inception. On the other hand, and apart from these things, Singapore is described as one of the most beautiful cities in the world, with its entertainment options that attract the tourist lights, such as high-end cultures and civilizations that embody the demographics of its residents. Dazzling bright shopping places, vibrant nightclubs, and finally festivals and annual feasts with a diversity of cultures. For Dubai in the UAE is the second largest city in the UAE, overlooking the Arabian Gulf area and largest in population, and one of the most beautiful cities in the world and the most attractive for tourists because of its elegant western appearance with an authentic Arab Oriental spirit. For years, Dubai has been seeking to create an engineering and architectural renaissance unparalleled in the world by building everything that is strange and surprising and eye-catching, starting with Burj Khalifa, the highest skyscraper in the world, then the Burj Al Arab, and then the largest artificial recreational palm island in the world. Paris in France, the French capital, is the largest and most beautiful tourist city in France and its political, economic and cultural center. Paris is located in the north of the country, close to the English Channel, and the Seine River divides it into two parts, and their strength is 20 districts. The city was founded during the 19th century by the French architect Haussmann, to include a group of the most famous, most important and most ancient historical monuments in beautiful tourist city in the world that tourists come from all over the world, and visits are not interrupted throughout the year. Perhaps the most important landmarks of Paris are the Eiffel Tower, Notre Dame Cathedral, Bastille Square, the Louvre Museum, and many others. To London in England. London is the capital of Britain, and its political, cultural and economic center, and one of the most important tourism cities in England. It is located in the south of the country on the banks of the Thames River, and is famous for its fog city due to the large number of fog formation in it. London is characterized by the diversity of its climate from one region to another throughout the year, and a huge developed network of transport and communications linking its most important cities. Great cultural diversity due to the large number of ethnic groups inhabiting it, with a number of the most wonderful and famous landmarks that made it one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And Bangkok in Thailand, the capital of Thailand and its main port, and one of the most famous cities in Thailand and one of the most beautiful tourist cities in the world as a whole, so that it is often called the best tourist destination in the world because of the elements and recreational tourist pleasures such as pop shopping centers, with nightclubs and bars that it offers, unparalleled nightlife in the country, and high-end hotels that offer accommodation options to suit all budgets. The capital Bangkok also has a number of giant modern skyscrapers, along with historical temples and royal palaces with archaeological history. For those looking for a trip of recreation and relaxation that inspires calm and psychological comfort, they have kayak trips or river taxi across the fresh rivers of Bangkok. All this contributes of Bangkok as one of the best honeymoon destinations and contributes to its classification as the most beautiful city in the world.